Welcome to the Cyber Espresso Podcast, your quick shot of cybersecurity insights with industry leaders. I welcome today's guest, Kae David, Senior Manager at Accenture. Kae, it's my pleasure to host you today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. So thank you for having me.
Likewise. So, Kae, in your previous role, you work with international teams to redesign and implement cybersecurity programs across multiple regions. So, what are the biggest complexities of managing security on such a global scale?
No, it's a great question. So there's a few different challenges or complexities. First is being able to understand from a compliance regulation perspective of the different impact based off of the geography and jurisdictions that an organization might exist in, and then the different nuances. So, for instance, in the US, we have federal regulations and then we have state regulations as well. And then you add that to looking at the view from a global perspective of you have different countries and then you have different nuances within those countries as well, in addition to the type of industry an organization is in too. So there's a lot of different complexities when it comes to compliance requirements to ensure that you're not only helping to protect an organization from a security standpoint, but also helping them reduce their exposure for non-compliance. In addition, it's just the fun of being able to work across cultures as well, which can add a lot of complexities. You know, people have different personalities, different perspectives and viewpoints on how an organization should run. And a lot of times it can come from a cultural standpoint too. So working across cultures can also add some complexities.
So it's more about than the security controls than the human component, let me say.
Exactly, exactly. The people perspective is also a major aspect to consider.
I like that. We call it people perspective. It's good. So in one of your posts, you emphasize that cybersecurity is about curiosity, adaptability, and thinking on your feet. I love it. Can you expand on your thoughts, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I posted that and just was thinking through it, it's essentially that you're not learning cybersecurity just from a textbook and it's a point in time knowledge. You constantly have to be challenging yourself to grow and learn and just digest new information because technology is always evolving and so are the threats. And then so are the people, back to the people perspective. So thinking through of, what does this device do? And then thinking through, well, if I was a threat actor, what are some of the vulnerabilities I would look for? And then what are some more innovative vulnerabilities that I could find? So constantly challenging yourself to learn from a threat actor perspective, from a defense perspective, thinking through the new technology, new risks, just thinking about our current landscape, how much has changed within the last year, how much has changed within the last month. So you just constantly have to be ready to learn more and digest more information and then think through it critically. So not only just ingesting information, but also thinking through how can you add to kind of the landscape and environment out there globally.
That's what I was telling to my daughter as well. Like, you need to be curious and you need to learn how to adapt. And then at a certain point, again, you're on your own. So you need to really think fast and for the good. Right? So
Yep.
I use that, your analogy of phrase to my daughter saying, look, these
Okay.
are the things you need to do, but not for business. Overall, that's what you need to do. I think the new generation, they need to be adaptable, right? And we are adaptable to a certain extent, but the speed is really accelerating, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But being curious is key for everything. If you're not curious, you're not gonna learn, you're gonna compete. My perspective,
No, I agree.
So,
I think it's important to also be passionate, right? Because you want to go into
yes.
something that you're passionate about, so then you feel like it's not a chore to learn or like a challenge to have to learn something new or read this article about the most recent trend in cybersecurity, but rather you're interested in learning more and staying innovative. And so you have to have a level of passion for what you do because you constantly want to be curious with it.
Sure. European Union is setting new standards for connected device security with the Cyber Resiliency Act. What do companies need to do to stay compliant? And more importantly, what does it mean for consumers?
No, so that's a great question. And honestly, it's a very relevant one for both organizations and everyday people right now. So the Cyber Resilience Act is the EU's way of raising the bar for digital product security. Whether you're making a smart home device or even software that talks to the cloud or even a connected car, the days of essentially launch fast and patch later are coming to an end. So for companies, compliance really means like two big shifts. So the first is that security has to be at the forefront and part of the drawing board. So security by design and security by default. So if you're building a product, you can't just bolt on security in the last minute, which a lot of times we do see companies doing. So that's really going to be changing. Organizations are going to have to be thinking about threat modeling, secure configurations, and vulnerability management from day one, from product inception and forth. Second, the level of accountability is what's going to be changing. So manufacturers are going to have to track and disclose vulnerabilities, patch them quickly, have very clear communication and timelines to support their customers. And that means products can't just disappear into the market and go off into the wild and leave people exposed when something goes wrong. So those are some of the two big shifts for what it means for organizations. And then lastly, what does it mean for consumers? What does it mean for us, for those that are actually using these products? And what it really means is there's going to be a change in trust. So this act is going to shift the way the market, the level of trust that a consumer can have in a product, where in the past maybe we questioned it. Now we can have a lot more of assurance in our own security when using the product. So it's going to shift away from this like buyer beware mentality and more towards the manufacturer accountable. So when you buy a smart product as a consumer, you should expect it to be safe. You don't have to question whether it is or is not anymore. Just like when you buy a car, you expect the brakes to work, that you have a seatbelt, that you're going to be secure when you drive it off the lot. So CRA kind of forces companies to treat cybersecurity as part of product quality instead of just like that bolt on that we just mentioned before. So, long story short, better security, longer product life, and more transparency for the people using the tech. It's a big step forward towards digital safety, and it raises the global bar, not just the European one.
So you talk about the manufacturer accountability. So how they gonna prove that they follow everything CRA is doing? If not, what will happen?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I think there's still some ambiguity around exactly how they're going to do it, right? It depends on the organization. And earlier we talked about being able to pulse check where your current maturity is. So some organizations are really going to struggle because they may not candidly have metrics and reportings where they can show like, look, this is our vulnerability scans that we've identified. These are the vulnerabilities that we've prioritized. This is our level of remediation, etc. Some organizations may unfortunately be starting at like ground zero, where they need to first get the visibility into their product, into their enterprise. So I think it's a great question, and organizations are going to have to really look themselves in the mirror to figure out how they're going to be able to meet this new compliance. And it's going to have to be tailored to not only where the organization may stand today, but where it needs to be in order to meet this CRA.
Wow, a lot of excitement is coming. Lots to do for the
Yeah,
companies.
lots of things. They're
Yeah.
going to be very busy, that's for sure. Because it and you know what? I think it allows for the organizations that have already proactively put cybersecurity first in a
Mhm.
really strong position, because they're not going to have to do this level of rapidly maturing very quickly to meet this standard. For the organizations that have already done like trust by design, security as step one, the CRA actually will probably be a lot less difficult compared to organizations that have always just put security as a bolt on in the past.
Yeah. So, Kyle, I appreciate your time. Thanks for this lovely chat, engaging chat. I look forward to our collaboration on other channels, on other mediums.
Yes, me too. Thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.